Nazurah binti Mohammed Yusuf of Singapore facing off with Nur Syafiqa binti Hamza of Malaysia. And one thing I've got to say, Ross, that I really do love more about the girls' gi and, and of course the fact that they use the they're fully covered in a way, um, almost like what you see in Mortal Kombat. It's actually a very it's almost like an action kind of gear if you look at it very close, and
Yeah.
different from the normal gi that the lads wear.
Yeah.
So and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You could very well I think place Nur Syafiqa in one of those games, and she'd just look natural there.
Because in Tunggal performance, some of the gears and the weapons are compulsory. So you have to put on certain things according to the rule books.
And I think it's wonderful. It's very rich in its presentation, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at it compared to, I'm not comparing it, but when you put other, flow performances and martial arts side by side, it's very different. It's very authentic and rich in presentation.
Yeah. That's why the authority, they are trying their best to differentiate Silat and other martial art.
I totally understand that, and we're going to start with the first routine. That's Siti Nazurah of Singapore.
Yeah.
How important is that execution of those movements in terms of the finish, or the part when you execute the movement and you pause at the finish? You have to be so sure-footed, and Roz, you were enlightening me yesterday that a lot of this actually comes from the balance and training that they have as a foundation,
Yeah.
which helps them maintain that solid ground for
Yeah.
any movement.
Yeah. When they execute the movement, there's the package, So when they pump, then they stop. That's the complete one package. Then they will start another package. That's why you see when they perform, pump, boom, they stop there. That's the completion of one package.
I actually do in the entire Tunggal. I do love the use of the weapons, because it doesn't come across as aggressive. It's just very fluid, very graceful in its routine. Like with the use of weapons in any martial arts, how careful and how well trained do you have to be to handle these weapons, even if they aren't sharp and they are more blunt for the occasion? How
Right.
important is that safety, training in a way?
Usually they will use the empty hand first until you are certain level. Then you introduce bit by bit. Because even though the weapon are blunt, but it will still hurt, and you still get cuts if you hit the thing direct.
Always wanted to ask you about the strike of the stick or the bamboo when you split and strike it with both hands in front of you. Is that a finishing move in an actual fight if you were to engage in a match or a battle of sorts?
It is to hit your opponent when the opponent is on the ground. If your opponent is lying on the ground, you just can strike the guy.
So fine finish here from Siti, Nazurah, and how did you find her routine, Ross, and especially that ending, the start and the finish? How good was that for you?
She do all the movement well, and very crucial at in the end is how good is her stamina. This is another aspect of the points. Usually they are very close to the pesilat, so that those very fine mistake
They can pick them out very easily.
Yeah, that we are far, so those fine detail they will become, because most of these athletes, the 100 movement is in their fingertips, right? So those goes down to those fine element.
So the routines, or what they're doing, as in you mentioned the 100 steps, this is something that they've repetitively done, so it comes very naturally to them and they actually get out. So the standout points, or the differentiating factor between a win or a defeat, really boils down to those little intricacies you spoke of.
Unless they have to complete within 3 minutes. You too fast or too slow, then there's always penalty. Silat dari Malaysia ni pun agak mantap ya.
Rose, you were mentioning to me about those intricacies that really make the points difference, and just for our mates in Indonesia and Malaysia, I think we could just elaborate a bit for them.
Biasanya pesilat ni kalau langkah wajib ini, mereka sudah amat fasih dalam terjadi mereka ni movement ini semua. Jadi yang buat kemenangan atau kekalahan adalah perkara-perkara yang detail, yang kecil-kecil, yang akan menyebabkan mereka berjaya ataupun tidak. Jadi juri-juri yang di hadapan itu amat dekat dengan peserta ya. Jadi mereka akan dapat melihat kesilapan yang sangat kecil, yang mana kita penonton atau yang jauh daripada mereka tidak lihat. Ini pesilat ini semua, persamaan mereka semua agak mantap. Jadi perkara-perkara yang kecil ini yang membuat mereka berjaya ataupun tidak.
So the routine, of course, always so important, and I was just trying to get a handle on Syafiqa and her routine, quite different from our Singapore, from the Singapore Pesilat, in terms of her execution, in terms of her movements, and I just found that probably Siti, Nazurah was just a little bit sharper in a sense.
The aggression, yeah.
But she can strike hard.
After the strike, a smile, I kill you.
So you won't find me standing in front of Siti Syafiqa anytime soon.
See the gong? It's the 3-minute gong.
So you would call that a photo finish?
But she's within
that.
Yeah, even though you finish earlier also, the gong will not strike. The gong will strike only during 3 minutes.
But if and this is a single artistic female or event, or as we call it, Tunggal. And
The winner is red corner from Malaysia.
You hear the result?
red. So